Hello everybody, welcome back to Red Tool House. Today Kelly and I are up at camp, so we're at the Raven and we're going to do a little work on that today. We actually just got back from the Homesteaders of America conference. I know continuity of these videos may not be perfectly in line, but on the way back from the HOA, this is kind of on the way back, so we thought we'll stop and maybe put a day's worth of work in here and do some stuff on the inside. But it is an absolutely gorgeous fall day. Just absolutely love driving through the mountains of West Virginia this time of year. And you just see the beautiful scenery, the leaves changing, the leaves on the road. It just, I don't know, makes me just want to run through the woods like a madman. But anyway, so what we're going to do today is we are going to work on our landing and a temporary ship's ladder to the loft, because right now, well, let me just show you what we got. It's a little dodgy. All right, so inside the building, Kelly's working on taking the stickers off the windows. Say hi, Kel.
Hi, Kel.
Perfect. What we learned a long time ago is the longer you leave those, the harder it is to take off. So take them off as soon as you can. But right now, we just have, to get to the loft, we just have a ladder, either this extension ladder or sometimes we use a step ladder. And that's no bueno. It is pretty unstable. And I don't want to build the permanent ship's ladder yet because we want to trim out everything, obviously get the wall material on, the floor, all that type of stuff down. But we're not going to just do a ship's ladder from the floor up. You can kind of see the angle that this creates even with this extension ladder and how far it goes over to the corner here of the building to give you not much room to maneuver. So what we've done, and I'll show you our SketchUp drawing here, I've designed this small landing so there'll be a step up and then you'll be able to access the ship's ladder from that subfloor to go up. So that's another reason to have a temporary ship's ladder, is that it's going to be resting right now on subfloor, and eventually we put that flooring material down. And of course we'll need to lift the ship's ladder, put it in. But I want to build one out of oak or cherry or whatever. I'm not quite sure yet, but I want to build it really nice. So we're going to get this moved out of the way, get cleaned up, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to build this landing structure. And we want it to have all kinds of function and purpose, not just a step, but we want it to have storage, multiple storage options, and I'll explain that as we go along. So you see all the extra pieces of T111 we have? Cut the sections out. I'm not quite sure.
Is that what all that is right there?
Yeah, well there's one piece of subfloor. That's actually what I'm going to use for the top of the landing. But yeah, this is the T111 for the door opening. Quite a bit. Of course I have tons of that foam insulation left as well.
You do?
Yeah, that's all what's stacked up against the wall there. What you doing, Kel?
Sweeping my tiny cabin with a tiny broom.
Make a list of things to bring, and the one thing we forget. Okay, so with this landing, we're going to put it right where Kelly is sweeping. So the landing is going to be more like subfloor construction. It's going to be 2x4, 2x6, 3/4 inch subfloor, all those things. We want it to be super sturdy and super strong. And then we're going to face it when it's time to finish. So once we get the little landing built with a subfloor and everything on it, it's going to be right at 18 inches tall. So that'll give us 2 9-inch steps. So we'll actually step up here, one step, and then the landing, and of course turn 90 degrees to go up the ship's ladder. But we want that landing to have not only storage on this side, so where Kelly's knees are, I want to build a big drawer that we can slide out, and that can either be storage or be our charge controllers, solar type stuff, whatever we have in there, be tucked nicely under that landing. And then of course the step that'll be right here where Kelly is now will just be one of those stair treads that just lift up, it's hinged, and it can have some storage there. Since we're only dealing with a 12 by 20 structure, we want to obviously maximize storage as much as possible. So I'm going to get started cutting my 2x4s. Those will be my vertical supports, and start screwing this all together. I'm going to screw it because if we need to take it apart for any reason, then obviously we can do so easily. So I actually printed out my instructions this time. And Kelly always rolls her eyes at me because I say instructions are for people that lack imagination. But we're actually going to follow the instructions that I drew up the other day so we can have this all be the right size, level, and of course not be like you're trying to climb a ladder. Numero uno. There's no time for sitting. All right, so I've got this 2x4 that Kelly notched for me, and the reason why we're not putting it up vertically is we want to have as much space as possible for a drawer slide to go in here. So if this is down and locked into place here, like so, then this will be we can have maximum height of the drawer here and not lose any of that space there. So since it's not load bearing, all it's doing is just tying these together, then we can use it. So I went with 2x6s on these face just to give the landing as much rigidity as possible. You know, I'm a big dude, so coming down this ladder, you have a tendency to kind of jump off the last because I'm still 12 years old at heart, right? So you want to jump off the last. So I wanted this to be as rigid as possible, but we're going to put a 2x4 here on 18 centers to get my fine adjustment tool. All right, for obviously rigidity to keep it in its place and for square, we're going to screw it to the studs here. Now when it comes time to insulate, obviously we'll just tuck insulation down and behind this, no big deal. Running wire, if we're going to put wire in it for outlets and stuff, which we will, then we'll still be able to run those higher here. So this will be dead man space, no issues.
So what about flooring? We'll have to floor around that.
Yeah, so we'll floor around this, and actually we'll be able to cover up the big hole that I made when I dropped the subfloor piece down. So this is 18 inches once we put subfloor on. So we'll have a step here, and that step will actually just be made out of finished oak. So it'll be kind of like what we have at home, Kel, where we'll just have, you know, an oak riser, and there'll be a side, it won't be a side skirt, but it'll be like a side riser. And then we'll put European hinges on the tread itself underneath, and there'll be a little split in it. So what you'll be able to do is you just come lift up the tread, and this will all be storage. So we can store whatever we want in there. We can either put all your snacks, or we can put my guns and ammo.
Gotcha.
That was a look. All right, let's put a floor on. All right, so with our leftover sheet of subfloor that we had. Stick that in place, and just in case we ain't square, we'll draw our cuts. But to say I didn't build something square would be a daggone dirty lie, wouldn't it, Kel?
It would be. It'd just be unfair.
That would require you to make certain assumptions based on historical observations. That's right. All right, there we go, one step closer.
Literally.
Yeah, I could install a pole. Be like a fireman's pole. Not a dancing pole, don't give me that look. A fireman's pole, you weirdo. Go on. You skipped church today, didn't you?
I'm traveling.
Yeah. All right, so now it's time to build the ship's ladder. All right, so based on my calculations, it was supposed to be 21.1 degrees, and it came out 21 point something degrees. My triangle doesn't have that much detail. So I was like, holy crap, it actually worked. So as you saw, Kelly and I kind of dry fitted up there, and now we have a template. It's good to have a template. And we'll just mark the other one to match. And then we're going to start doing the treads. So what we're doing with threads is we're using 2x6s as well, and we're going to notch out our boards, our stringers, just a small notch in them to house those treads, and they'll be at that same 21 degrees. So we'll have nice wide steps going up, and then at some point we'll put a temporary handrail in, and this will suffice until we're finished with the floor. So I'm using my 21 degree cutoff here as a template of the angle. Measure it. So Kelly and I just eyeballed it. What we think, there's what you draw up and then what you actually feel for aesthetics. So we think we're going to go with 12-inch spacing, which is the same you'd have on a regular ladder. And ship's ladder, I think, can go as high as 14 on this tread spacing. But this is yet another reason why we're using rough stuff right now. Because if I don't like it, we don't like it, we want to redo it, all I have to do is throw away these two 2x6s instead of something I've made from the workshop that has a lot of time and energy in it. So only after we've test driven it for a while, we come back and actually at that point, we're building a piece of furniture at that point. This will be our prototype, so if we want to make any changes before we get a lot of money tied up and time tied up in making our piece of furniture, then we can make those changes and then construct the piece of furniture we want. Yeah, it's a left-handed hammer, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm having such trouble.
Yeah, figured. So Kel, I went under the building and found some of our cutoffs from the rafters, and I got enough cutoffs to do all the treads that we need, so I didn't need to buy those 3 boards.
Oh, awesome, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we'll be able to save those.
Yeah, use it for something else.
Yeah, so cutting these down to 34 inches wide, and that should fit in the pockets that Kelly's cleaning out there. The dados, I guess is the proper term. And we'll screw those together, and that should make a ladder that's 36 inches wide, and we should be able to fit it right in place, and it should stick to our landing perfectly. Those are the shoulds. We'll see how it actually goes.
I keep cutting my finger on the wood.
Yeah, they're gonna work.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, proud. Let's see if I can put them in straight.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, come uphill some. There you go. All right, so this is the bottom, this is the face. So
Right,
you go up
that
and
needs to go against
kind of
the...
pirouette around. So let's turn it around. So I'm going to go, you come around that way. Dance, monkey dance. All right, come on, switch me place here.
Okay, needs to come in where it's going to slide off the... There you go.
Hey. All right, so let's hold that right there. I'll get
Yep.
some screws.
Yep. Yeah.
And you feel comfortable going down forward, or you have to turn around, do you think?
Oh, no, I think I'll have to turn around.
Or sidestep it. If we had a handrail, of course.
Right, that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. So that's kind of the concept of a ship's ladder. It's a little bit more sturdy and a little bit more formidable than a regular ladder. And it's supposed to be to where you're comfortable enough to walk down it like you'd walk down a set of stairs. So our angle may be a little too steep, but I really like having this space here. If we're carrying stuff up to the loft, if this was kicked further over, then of course it's just going to be something you're going to have to lift over. So we're going to play with this and see. We may move it back, or we may change it, I'm not sure. But obviously handrail is going to be a big consideration. We could run a rail down here and maybe stop it here, do a vertical, it comes down, ties in. There's all kinds of options we can do. And then when we actually do the piece of furniture, you see the ship's ladders, they have, the really nice wooden ones have the handrail actually molded into it. So we'll see if we're going to take that on. But really like what we've got in place here. Now we can safely get up and down in the loft without having to have our ladders that are rickety. And of course I'll probably just make a temporary step there until we can get our actual oak piece built and put in, or whatever species I'm going to use. Well, the next thing we want to do is, it's getting cold. In fact, it's been chilly all day up here, but we want to get our wood burner. So we want to put a wood burning stove in this corner, and that'll actually be the very next step. We'll just go up and out the sidewall and then vent up to the top above the roof line. And that will allow us to be able to heat the cabin even when it's not insulated, so we can get up here and work, putting in the wiring, insulation, all that stuff. And it'd be a lot warmer than, even without insulation, it'd be a lot warmer than sleeping in a tent out here on the deck. We also need to close up our soffits, which is one other thing that needs to be done. We've got all the material, we just got to get it scheduled. So we'll take you along. Kelly, any parting words?
See you next time.
That's a good parting word. Y'all take care.